It's time again for your home for everything CORT. This is the fastest show in sim racing, the CORT Report. This is your one-stop shop for news for the CORT Trading Paints Championship Series. And the CORT National Cup Series. And now the guys who will bring it all to you. David Amboys.
Bye, Brian.
Chris Sweat.
Come on, baby, here we go.
And Julian Medor.
Destroy! All kinds of telephone poles. Medics destroy all kinds of transformers.
Hello and welcome to the Thursday edition of the CORT Report. I am your host, David Amboys, and I'm alongside Chris Sweat.
Hello.
And Julian Medor.
Hi.
Yes, Julian Medor is now the third mic for the CORT Report this week. We will be having a action-packed show for you guys as we got two very, very big events to cover from the world of the CORT Trading Paints Championship Series and the CORT National Cup Series. And Julian, we'll touch on CORT National Cup, but congratulations on the win at Daytona. We will cover that later on, but we do have immediately, I just want to get this off the top of the show right off the bat. What is going to be the broadcasted race that you have because you won the race? You get to determine what our broadcasted race with our friends at TSTV will be later on this season.
Well, after a little bit of deliberation on this, I think we're going to go with the second annual Independence 300.
There you go, folks. The Independence 500K, 206 laps at Charlotte, our longest race of the year in both series, and it will be broadcasted on TSTV. That will be July 3rd. So, looking forward to that right there. I know you misspoke. You said 300. It is the Independence 500K presented by Coke Zero, and we're looking forward to that. Chris, Phoenix.
Phoenix is great for the old 33 Breaks team. It was an interesting race overall. I think we saw just about what we saw last season, but I don't think it was super, super bad. It could have been worse.
Got that right. You got that right. Why don't we go ahead and run down the finishing results from the CORT Trading Paints Bosch Grand Prix of Phoenix. It's brought to you by JGM Designs. Tim Silliman, the winner, the brand new winner, the fourth straight winner in a points event for CORT, brought home the win and the first win for D3.
You know, a heck of a job to you guys. You guys had great cars. You were running up front. Tim was running up front. And I know Cody was running decent up until he had his problems. Just great job by the whole 8 team all around. I mean, he started up in the front and he ran up there the entire time and was just in the right spot, right time.
Yeah, and that wouldn't have been possible if it weren't for the fact that Tim was able to inherit the lead from Ryan Heater, who pushed his fuel just one lap too far, and he ran out of gas coming to the white flag to finish off that event. Hey, Julian, you had a pretty good run on Monday as well. You came home second.
It was definitely a surprising run. Just had a really good final restart. Took advantage of something I noticed people weren't protecting the entire race. Figured I'd hold on to the move until the end, and not only was it a good run for me and my best run so far in the Trading Paints, but it was a really good run for the team as a whole. Andrew came home fourth, and there was a lot of back and forth on the team channel between us. We communicated really well. It was a great race for us, so looking forward to next week at Okayama. Andrew excels pretty well at the road courses, and I'm looking forward to the road courses too. It's a nice change of pace. So
there was a restart about halfway through the race. All of a sudden, you come flying up behind me out of nowhere. It scared the crap out of me.
Boogity.
Hey, speaking of a guy who had another good run, the guy who started on the pole, led some laps, led 46 laps, in fact, led the most laps. Will Roberts, second week in a row, digging.
Not a bad job, not a bad job. Showing a lot of consistency. I mean, he definitely loves the ovals, and I think Will's definitely become a force to contend with. I mean, he is, I believe, still our current point leader. I don't know, it's only after 2 events, but even still, it's, I mean, he's showing some muscle.
Andrew Hayes came home 4th.
Like I said, great run for Hayes. He needed it, especially after last season, so it's good to see him back up in the top 5 and running well. And like I said, the whole team as a whole is running really well, so it's great to see.
Chris Sweat, top 5.
How about that? I mean, I gotta thank Toyota Power. I mean, we definitely had the engine this week. We didn't have last week. Car felt great. Kind of got dialed in. Didn't want to think I was that fast, but just kind of hung around top 5 for a little bit. Fell back to top 10. Just kind of waited there and had a little bit of a mistake, but managed to get a lucky break on the caution there and put us right up in contention. And I'll definitely take a top 5 at this track any day.
Brother, you were fast. I know that that restart that you mentioned where I kind of went around everybody. Even though I got around you were faster than me, and if we hadn't had a caution, you would have been on me or around me within a couple laps, so it's good to see you running well.
Good run for the man.
I'll definitely take it. David, come home 6th.
Yeah, it was a good run. I mean, I honestly looked in. I came into Phoenix just wanting points after not finishing just 1 point or 1 position out of the points last week, and came in, just said, I'm not going to challenge anything. I'm just going to drive my race, just get laps down, and just finish the race. And we ended up getting a top 6 out of it, and a really good points position. Hopefully we can duplicate that when we head to Okayama next week. Scott Olson, though, last car on the lead lap, 7th.
I think the last car to finish, really. It was a war of attrition, or nutrition, but
I don't know what you're talking about.
Scott seemed to run pretty well. I mean, he was in contention for the win there, and I think he got caught up in the accident between Heater and Husby. I think he was the third party in that event.
Speaking of which, Ryan Heater and Mike Husby had a couple controversial moments. In fact, Husby had quite a few controversial moments over the past week or so. More on that later, but Heater came home 8th after leading the most laps, but just running just a little bit short on fuel.
Heartbreaking. I mean, he didn't lead the most laps. That was definitely Will Roberts. But that's just it's just heartbreaking that come so close. And I mean, sometimes you gotta take gambles, and sometimes it pays off, and sometimes it bites in the ass.
Yeah, that whole 703 racing team is definitely up their game this year. That's for sure. That is for sure. My apologies, I was looking at the wrong column there. Mike Husby came home 9th in his Delphi entry after wrecking out late in the going and having a bad go of it there at the end.
Congratulations, Mike Husby.
It's a good run by Husby. Good to see him running well in the IndyCar. But man, that's got to be the first time in a long time I've seen him get so riled up after a race. He was not very happy with Ryan Heater.
That's for sure. That is for sure. Pete Engelmanis. What am I saying? I'm all messed up tonight. My apologies. Pete Engelmanis came home 10th. Finished in the points for the second week in a row. Good to see him do that, especially with the engine damage.
Yeah, he caught air. It was kind of cool.
Did a little wheelie. Kind of got some points. And he'll be back in the second round for the gold medal attempt.
Sean Breitzman in the number 47. Hey, he's quietly building a good season. Came home 11th in the points.
I will say this, week in and week out, Sean Breitzman is not someone to take lightly. I know Sean Breitzman is a hell of a driver, and he's silently showing his hand how good he actually is, and he is a very exciting driver to watch, and he's going to be in contention very, very, very soon.
Can't really vouch for him in the Trading Paints race. I didn't get to see him too much over the course of that race, but I gotta believe what you guys are saying because he ran pretty well through speed weeks on the Cup side. So it's good things to come, hopefully.
He was up there for the most part in that race. I believe he was involved in an incident where he ended up plastering the turn 2 wall and kind of put a damper on the rest of his night. But he was up there. He was definitely in the top 5, top 8 for the most part of the night. Cody McCorkle, last car in the points, came home 12th.
Go, Cody.
Go, Cody.
I didn't see him do much of the night. I just don't have much to say. Hey, he's hanging on the points. He just got caught up in an incident late in the race, started in the back. Officials didn't really feel comfortable with him around there, so had him start in the back. He worked his way up into points. Wreck avoidance 101 for him.
Hey, you want to talk about a guy who started in the back? Carson Abe.
What?
Carson Abe. He came home 13th.
Definitely a good run for Carson. Good to see him running well. Kind of disappointed with the announcement he made today on the Cup side, but if he feels he's running better on the IndyCar side, that's just as well. I mean, it's definitely a series that can probably make him better on both sides of the equation, so hopefully we'll see him back in the Cup side from the experience he gets in Trading Paints. But a good run for Carson. It's good to see him kind of not at the bottom of the list. You know what I mean?
That's the thing too. These cars are faster, but they're more, I guess you can say, more forgiving, essentially, in the aspect of making a little mistake, you can kind of correct it because of the high downforce. And it just, if he doesn't feel comfortable in a 10 top, then, so be it. This will definitely give him the confidence he needs to get back out there.
They're more forgiving in terms of driving, but they kind of teach you discipline as far as,
yes.
Not getting into people and just driver etiquette, because you can't afford to run into somebody in the series.
Yeah, for those of you not aware, Carson Abe has withdrawn from the CORT National Cup Series, and hopefully if Carson's, I don't want to say if Carson's talents get better or if he feels more comfortable in the car in the future, we'd love to have him back in the CORT National Cup Series. Jake Finch came home 14th.
I have to say, that being said, anybody interested in running a Ford Fusion with the sponsor K&N with the number 22, give me a call at 1-800 Matador Motorsports needs a freaking driver.
That's not 7 digits.
I don't care.
Anyways, Jake Finch came home 14th.
He's not eligible for my car.
Alright, it's clear we're not going to say anything about Jake Finch.
Let's say something about Jake Finch. It's not fair. Jake ran pretty well. He was pretty fast. Yeah, I think he was just a product. Like, something just came up there closer to the end, and it was just unfortunate. But I know he was pretty fast. I ran around him a couple times, and definitely faster than I was.
Jake's been good in the 2 races that he has been running for O'Toole Motorsports. It's just a case where the finishes haven't shown it. I mean, he was running pretty well at Homestead last week, and this week he was running pretty well as well, but just couldn't seem to catch that break that he needed. John Dragonetti came home 15th. A tough break for him as well.
Really tough break. He was in the top 5 for the majority of the race, in the top 10 at they're coming to the end, and just wrong place, wrong time.
I know it's only 15th, but definitely not a name you see this far down on the list most weeks, so it's kind of just a tough week for John, and just kind of hope for better luck for him. It'd be great to see him run well.
Tyler Tucker, a guy who was in contention last week. Wish we could say the same again this week, but he came home 16th.
And Chicken Man had a rough go of it.
Yeah, Chicken Man was breaded at Phoenix. Patrick O'Toole came home 17th.
I'm not quite sure what happened with him.
I don't even remember either.
I believe he spun and hit the wall out of 2 about midway through the race. And that ended his day. Let's go ahead and move on. Andrew Mickey came home 18th. Johnny Williams 19th. Tough break for him. Joseph Cervone. 20th.
Tupac is dead.
Tupac is dead, and unfortunately Joseph Cervone, after qualifying 13th, did not have all that great of a run as well.
No, we'll say this. I got something to say about Joseph later on when we get to the Cup side.
All right. A name that you wouldn't expect to be on the third page of results here on the Court Report. Eric Mickey, the number one curse strikes again, 21st.
Rough night for the Mickey brothers at Phoenix. You don't really expect this from Eric, especially 2 weeks in a row. I think it's definitely just a product of bad luck, and like you said, the number one curse, right? So I think when we go to Okayama next week, you're going to see a whole different story, because we know how well he runs on the road courses.
Yeah. Matt Trace, another short night for him. He came home 22nd.
He'll finish one of these days.
Yep. I honestly firmly believe once we get to some bigger super speedways, once we hit Indianapolis, once we hit, our bigger oval side of the season, when we hit the Las Vegas and Michigan and all that, I firmly believe Trace will be at the end of one of these.
Yeah, Danica's a good super speedway driver.
What are you trying to say there?
Go Daddy.
Kyle Young, unfortunately, heads the rear of the field. He came home 23rd.
It's unfortunate. I don't know what's up with Kyle. It seems like he's definitely a capable driver. It just seems whenever we bring up these results, he's doesn't have the results to back up what I just said about him.
CORT Trading Paints Championship Series. They will be heading to the Okayama International Circuit for the CORT Auto Box Grand Prix Japan Special Fun Time, yes, on Monday.
Not Motegi.
That's a ridiculous name.
Not Motegi. Well, the Japanese PR people came up with the name. We didn't
Fun Time, yes.
Fun Time, yes.
We should have just called it the Gangnam Style 500.
Well, that's Korea.
Yeah, but it's all the same.
It's not. No. Whoa. The views expressed by Julian Medora are not those of the Court Report and all those associated parties. They're not all the same.
We're gonna get
what
in
kind
trouble.
Of xenophobic attitude is that?
Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure doing the Court Report, but we're gonna get shut down after this.
Hey, I could be implying, but not saying that we're all the same.
We're getting shut down.
Looking at the points, Will Roberts.
We're all Asian on the inside.
Will Roberts leads the points by 11 over Mr. Xenophobic Julian Medor. And Pete Engelmanis is third in points. Tim Silman finds himself fourth in points, 16 back. Andrew Hayes, fifth in points, 18 back. As we get this season kicked off for the...
I am higher in points than them boys.
Opa
yes,
Rover style.
But you, I believe, finished in the points in both events. And
negative.
No?
You finished in the negative points.
I got wrecked at Homestead.
That's right. That is right. So it's going off of the points that you earned, because you earned 10 points at Phoenix, and I earned 10 points, or 8 points at Phoenix. In comparison. Anyways, Okayama. What's there to watch out for at this strange little roadie in Japan?
You can handle the car when you're running on a pit limiter.
All right, but just looking for some actual insight here, Julian.
I think the you're going to see some fast racing. You might see some side-by-side racing. It's a pretty wide track for the most part, but I think when you get to the last maybe quarter of the track is when you're going to see I think people making mistakes when they try to race each other. That last section is kind of technical, and especially the last turn. I think it's a double apex.
It is.
Yeah, you really got to watch. It's one of the few turns with the IndyCar that requires a fair amount of throttle control.
Yeah, and it's also going to be the debut of the CORT 120 format. 1 hour and 20-minute races. What's the main thing to watch out for strategy when it comes to a timed race over a distance race?
Calculating fuel, I would think it's going to be kind of hard to calculate just how much fuel you're going to need after you run a pit stop to the end.
Definitely going to be interesting. You can still get your entries in. You can find that at CORTRacing.com, and more on that, and hopefully a good review of it next week on the CORT Report.
A lot of entries for that race. I mean, so it's 18. It's less than what we had for the last 2 races, but 18 seems like a lot for a road course. So yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
We usually see a drop-off on the road side of things, usually, whenever we have a Trading Paints race happen at a road course. So, to see 18 for a roadie, that's pretty equal to, like, 24 to an oval. So,
and there's still a few more days, so I'd say we're going to have a few more than 18, hopefully.
Yeah, we're taping this on Thursday, so there's still a lot of chance that we could see some more names on that entry list by the time Monday at 6:30 rolls around.
You know what's great about Thursday?
What's so great about Thursday?
If we were recording this on Tuesday, we possibly would have a different review on the entry list for Okayama.
Yep, we would be like, get those entries in,
please! Yep.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we take a break? We'll come back and we'll review the CORT Daytona 250, which our man here, Julian Medora, got the win in.
What?
You got the win in it.
Yeah, I'm still shaking a little
bit. We'll be back. CORTRacing.com. This is the CORT Report.
Oh, do you really think it'll work? Huh, you just wait. Bless me, Father, for I've sinned. I've been with a loose woman.
Freddie? Is that you?
Yes, Father.
Who was she? Was it Tiffany from the post office?
I'm not gonna tell, Father.
Was it Brandy from the supermarket?
My lips are sealed.
Or Angie, the new teacher?
I'm not going to say.
So be it, my son. That's 40 Hail Marys for you, then.
So, how'd it go? I got 2 new leads.
Survival's all about keeping your cool. So whose antiperspirant will make them the last man standing? Step into the simulated Arctic environment. Cubby, add the Wolverines. New Everest from Degree has a fresh scent and twice the sweat-blocking power, which helps mask the smell of fear during Wolverine attacks on icy terrain. Still looks cool and dry. Sure does, Bear. Try New Everest from the Degree Adrenaline series.
Hello, welcome back to the CORT Report, CORTRacing.com, and now we're getting ready to focus in on the CORT National Cup Series, and after a week of qualifying and practices and single car runs and then pack runs and dual races and blind chance round robins, we're now finally able to bring you the results.
You forgot about the consecutive sack races.
Yeah, the consecutive sack races held on consecutive Sundays until a winner is determined. We are finally able to bring you the results of the CORT Daytona 250.
It was a long couple weeks.
2 weeks of Daytona.
Well, I think Mr. High and Dighty over here, with this trophy that he has brought onto the studio, or brought into the studio
Ignorant
here,
prick.
sitting over here. I mean, you have to bring the Harley J. Earl trophy in here.
If it makes you feel any better, all I can really say is that I'm now 1 for 71. Does that make you feel a little bit better?
If you folks didn't know, Julian Medora won the CORT Daytona 250 on Wednesday night.
I'm still kind of got the shakes a little bit when I think about it. Because I've been trying for 8 years to win a Daytona. And it's been 71 races now between CORT and CAS CORT, with 10 second place finishes. So I kind of hit two birds with one stone last night. And a lot of the I got to thank Corey. Corey and Hayes, but Corey was really the last key part of that win last night, and really got to thank him.
Yeah, and a good run for you too, and had to get around me and Cody McCorkle after Cody blew up. I was a lame duck, and I saw my Daytona 250 chances and dreams and dash and publicity and New York City and all the business go by me on the outside anticlimactically.
It was, in a way, I was really disappointed when I saw Cody blowing up, because I know you're also kind of in a similar boat to me, and it would have been great to see you win, especially at Daytona, and especially seeing how well you ran that race, your whole team really. I know there was not just you, but there was a few other people that have been around CASCOR and CORT a long time that were in contention to win it at the end. I think Chris was in the main pack there at the end, and I know Husby was too. And Husby's been trying as long as I have to win a race at Daytona. So it's just Daytona is one of them tracks, it bites people.
Yeah, why don't we go ahead and run down the finishing order for the CORT Daytona 250. It's brought to us by CORTRacing.com, your source for everything CORT. Julian got the win, as we all know, and he was pushed by Corey Stevens, who led literally half the race with 50 laps led.
I can't believe how long he stayed out front, especially with the package that we have. This is a kind of a package that doesn't support one car being out front that long. We still had a lot of lead changes. We had 26 lead changes, but with how racy these cars are at the super speedways, he ran up front the entire time. I said just before we recorded, he was no lower than 8th over the course of that 100 laps, which is pretty impressive considering he's just coming back to iRacing, and this is really his first super speedway race since coming back, and it's pretty impressive, and it's going to be interesting for the rest of the season, seeing where he goes.
That was impressive. It was definitely a showing. I mean, you two just powered through the field and just dominated essentially, and good job.
Whole team. It was a big team effort. The chatter that was going back and forth, not just at Daytona, but I think it kind of started at Phoenix in the IndyCar race. It's just been a lot of good team chatter. We've been working well together, a lot of good chemistry, so it's good to kind of see it come to a point where we're actually getting some success now, especially after how last season went for me and Hayes.
Pete Ingamanis from 26th to 3rd on the night.
Good run for Pete. He's always strong at these super speedway races. Him and Trace kind of just thundered to the front there early in the going. I'm just kind of surprised not to see him battling for the lead late in the race. I know he was not that far behind us, but he's usually someone that's like, if he's not first or second, he's third or fourth when it comes to these things. He's in contention, but he was coming on the last lap, and I'm just not used to seeing him not leading these things.
Yeah, I believe we went ahead and checked our stats department, CORT stats department, and him and Trace were in the top 10 within 5 laps of last night's event, so good on them. Joseph Cervone, Coffee Train. What happened? Coffee Train finished 4th.
I'm impressed. I mean, it's this Joseph's come a long way. He was pretty much up there the whole night. He was just kind of hanging around. I mean, he did fall back late in there, but he was just riding. But when it came down to it, he worked his way back up, and 4th place is a hell of a job for him. Looks like he led 2 laps too.
And like I was gonna like I pointed out earlier in Trading Mates, I had something to say about Joseph. I'm very impressed with how he ran last night. He did a really good job. He drove it like a veteran. Early in the race, I went to the back, and he was back there with me. We had some chat going back and forth. He just played the race conservatively and was able to be up there at the end. There was a lot of other big-name drivers that weren't there, and to see Joseph up there running for the win there at the end was pretty impressive. He's come along a long way just in the last couple of weeks. So
John Dragonetti will run out the top 5.
Another solid run.
Between CORT and the OCRL, I think that's the lowest I've ever seen him finish at a super speedway race, which is still very impressive, and it's good to see him get a good run after what happened in the Trading Paints race.
Stephen Taylor in his last race before he moves out of Alaska and moves to North Carolina. Talk about a far move. He will finish 6th.
Frick yeah, 6th.
Can't say he's from Alaska anymore.
He was good too. He kind of hung around the back there for the middle part of the race and was just riding behind me and Jim, and managed to get through that last wreck and got up there.
You think when he moves to North Carolina, he's gonna melt, just like Frosty the Snowman when the sun comes out?
No.
Nah.
Jesus Andrade came home 7th.
It's a decent run for Jesus. Not his strongest race since he came over to Ooh.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Whoa. Julian.
Ooh.
You telling me something you're not supposed to be telling me? What are you telling me?
Ooh.
What are you telling me? Why you do this?
I was gonna say Ontario.
Ah ha ha. Ha 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 ha. What the story, Julian?
Oh, hi. Hey, this doesn't work.
Jesus Andrade finished 7th, and he had a really good run going, just quietly. He had some damage on his rear end, but was, still able to stay up there, which shows you how tough these Gen 6 cars are.
Say that about all the guys, Dave?
What's that?
No, never mind. Moving on, James Gooda.
Yeah, waved the banner for the Chris Sweat racing team. He came home 8th.
Kind of the quiet soldier of that group.
We had a good plan. After Steve got taken out, we decided to drop the back and kind of got back up in the pack after pit stops, and then all hell broke loose.
By the way, thank you, Steve Lovender, for being so quick on the Alt F4. I mean, he's got that thing like on preload or something, because when that wreck happened, I was heading right towards him. The next thing I know, he was gone.
You should have heard TeamSpeak.
Oh.
TeamSpeak.
Not very PG. Right, team communications after that.
Cody McCorkle came home 9th, and I gotta take this time to thank Cody for pushing me as far as he could. Unfortunately, the engine let go on the penultimate lap with 2 to go, and he definitely gave me the best chance of winning there at the end. He stuck with me, and unfortunately, we just came a lap short.
Wait a minute. Cody finished ahead of you with a blown motor.
Yeah, because I ended up with a black flag at the end. I ended up with a meatball flag.
I'm gonna say he kind of scared the hell out of me and Corey when he blew up. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I just knew there was smoke. I didn't know which one of his was blowing up. I thought there was going to be a wreck.
Yeah, well, it was not. It was very promising with about 3 laps to go. We were very excited at D3. It sucks what happened to Tim, because Tim had a really good car too. But then, about 2 minutes later, it went all crumbling down like a deck of cards. And unfortunately, we ended up 9th and 10th, respectively. So that'll do the top 10 while we move on further down the field. Andrew Hayes, he came home 11th. First car 1 lap down.
Hayes ran really well all night and just didn't come home with the result that he deserved. Because he was able to go to the front when he wanted to. He was able to back it off when he wanted to, and rinse and repeat pretty much. He had a really good car, and like I said, just didn't get the results. So him and Pete really had something going on that last restart, and I guess it just didn't really come together.
Greg Netherwood will bring it home 12th.
Solid job for him. I mean, he hung around when he needed to. I know he got caught up in a late caution that kind of hindered his damage there, but he was around top 10 all night.
Guy drives a nice car.
It is a really sharp looking car. One of the sharpest out there on the racetrack every week. Chris Sweat, 13th.
Next.
Okay. Kyle Young, 14th.
Really see a whole lot from Kyle. I know he was kind of he kind of like
for a while.
Hovered around the front. Definitely probably not the finish he wanted. I guess he got taken out in that late caution that I didn't really get to see much of until I watched a stream of the race today.
Just unfortunate, wrong place, wrong time for Kyle, and wrong place, wrong time for White Mamba Mike Husby.
Just Daytona biting Husby again. What else is new, right?
When is this man going to win a points race at Daytona?
Well, he's got the non-points race down. He won the duel last week.
Duel. When's this points event?
It'll come eventually.
Maybe next season.
I gotta say though, just on the topic of not knowing what happened there with that accident, of the 3 cautions that we had, the accidents that happened were huge. If they weren't as big as they were, we would have had a lot of cars running for the win at the end.
Would have been great to see. Tim Silliman will bring it home 16th after having arguably a really good car at the end.
Tim had a good car the entire race from what I could see.
He even had damage on the rear and was still able to keep it going. So I just hate it for that team. Came all the way from 28th, was led 15 laps, and just kind of had it happen to him.
A lot of cars had weird random spots of damage on them that kind of seemed unexplained. Like cars had damage on them before our first caution even.
Yeah, a lot of cars, I think it's just from the bump drafting that caused it.
Cars are weak.
Let's move along. Riley Roush, the Super Speedway bringer, unfortunately came home 17th.
Is he only running the Super Speedways?
I believe so, yes.
Huh. Yeah, I suppose that's kind of disappointing then for him. If he's a ringer, you probably expected a better finish. I didn't really get to see much of him. Did he run near the front?
Yeah, he was running near the front. His number 06 Ford was doing alright, but just seemed to have get involved, I believe, in an incident with Patrick O'Toole that pretty much put a damper on his night.
He got into a sticky situation.
Well, let's move along. Sean Brightsman.
He drove the Pornhub car.
Yes, he drove the Pornhub car, yes. Sean Brightsman in our CORTRacing.com car, however, had a rough go of it. He unfortunately came home 18th.
He got into a sticky situation.
Let's move along. Johnny Williams. Johnny just... I don't know about Johnny, man. I gotta be honest. I don't know about Johnny.
Many words could be said, but many words are not going to be said.
What's going on here?
Many words haven't been said a lot by me tonight.
What's going on here? I'm missing something.
I don't know, but Matt Trace, as we move on to the third page of results, came home 20th.
That's a guy that knows about sticky situations.
He had a tough break, actually. He had a little bit of a tough break as I pull up the CORT National Series Twitter. He had a glitch coming into a stall, which caused him to have 1.5 minutes of required repair. Sort of a strange thing to happen to Trace, and that kind of put him behind the 8 ball for the remainder of the night.
Yeah. If I'm the guy that can't win, he's the guy that can't finish. I don't know what's up. He's definitely capable of better results. And sorry?
Just look at what he did in the top 10. I mean, he was able to get to the top 10.
Exactly.
Like that.
Just bad luck. It's kind of, if he was having connection issues, it kind of reminds me of last season with me. The terrible connection issues. It sucks that we can't all have good, ground connections.
Yeah. It's just not possible sometimes.
Also, stop using Riley Roush's sponsor and you'll have better internet connections.
Okay, let's move along. Patrick O'Toole finished 21st.
I believe Patrick might have tried to get up in the pack at one point, which is sorry, something don't really expect to see from him at these races. It's also, I'm assuming he didn't grenade the engine, so looks like the O'Toole Motorsports engines are kind of better than last season.
They're on the right track.
Yeah.
Yep, they are getting on the right track. Just need to get those engines better. I mean, it seems like every week Patrick is blowing engines. I don't know what he's doing, what's going on in the heads or the cams, but he's got to get that figured out by the time we head to Vegas.
Wasn't he supposed to have a teammate, like a veteran teammate?
Yeah, it was supposed to be Matt Kingston, and unfortunately, Matt Kingston. I don't want to impose something, but it seemed like Matt Kingston left Patrick O'Toole high and dry at Daytona, which is not what you want to do.
Yeah, what's up with that, Kingston? What do you got to do in New Brunswick? There's nothing to do in New Brunswick. Get it on the racetrack.
Carson Abe, after struggling last night and announcing today that he is withdrawing from the CORT National Cup Series. Yeah, unfortunately, that was his withdrawal comes after a 22nd place finish in the 22nd or in the number 22 car.
Top night.
You know what? It sucks to know that he's not going to be back in that car. It sucks to know that next week I probably won't have a team car out on the racetrack, but 1-800 Matador Motorsports, he's a driver.
It's not a phone number.
Yes, it is.
It needs to be 7 digits.
1-800 David Danboys can suck my 7 digits.
We already talked about Riley Roush.
Pornhub.
Okay, Alex Boffoli in the 08, the man who started 4th on the night, was involved in that incident early. He came home 23rd. In fact, a lot of these names here were involved in that incident at that
Mom
time.
said he couldn't race anymore.
Mom Spaghetti.
Mom Spaghetti. Sean Burke in the 70s came home 24th.
Just give me a second.
Wow. What's going on? Am I the only one playing it straight here this week?
Better.
Did you guys... Julian, I know you won yesterday, but did you drink some alcohol, or are you still drunk, or what's going on there?
Mom Spaghetti.
Mom Spaghetti. That's an inside reference, folks. Sean Burke came home 70.
Came home.
Came home... See, that's what happens. This is what happens. I even have a visual reference here.
John Burke came home 70th. Matt
Burke
Harrington.
came home 24th. Yeah, Matt Harrington came home 25th.
Tyler Tucker, 26th. Another rough night for the Chicken Man. Will Roberts, he got caught up in that early incident there. These kind of guys grouping here between Sean Burke, Tyler Tucker, Will Roberts, Steve Lovender, and Dakota round up the field there. They all kind of got caught up in that lap 20 incident, and it's just kind of hate to see it happen.
You know, I've been thanking Corey so much for this race, but really, Steve Lovender won me that race.
Stop thanking my driver for being wrecked.
Alt F4, man.
Next time I'll tell him not to Alt F4.
CORT National Cup Series heads to Las Vegas next week for the MGM Grand 300. Guys, what do you guys look for at Vegas?
It's not Daytona.
Yeah, it's the beginning of the actual season.
I'm looking at lots of tire fall off after the first couple laps. It's what I remember having issues with, and Corey kind of reported back to me after he ran a few test laps saying, after about 6 laps, he was about a second slower than when he ran on the first 2 laps. That's dramatic.
Yeah, it's definitely lots of fall off, man. I personally look forward to falling back to mediocrity and whatnot, but
Chris,
it's gonna be interesting.
Chris, you know what? You gotta give yourself a pat on the back, man. You finished 5th in the trading paints race at Phoenix. In a caution-filled race, but I usually expect to see you run well on the big tracks, and Phoenix is not a big track, and that track seems even shorter with the Indy cars. So don't be so hard on yourself.
That's okay. I don't expect to finish much.
Well, it is a case where it's just every race, you gotta take it one race at a time, and who knows what can happen on any given Monday or Wednesday at court. Anyways, why don't we touch on a little bit of team news. Julian, you got an opening over there at Matador Motorsports. The number 22 K&N Ford Fusion is driverless.
It is.
Someone help out Julian Medor.
Someone get in there. Get in that 22 K&N Fusion.
It looks pretty good.
It does. And you know what? At some point you might have a teammate if that guy up in Court Team Channel 1 ever gets on iRacing.
I don't know who you're talking about.
I don't know who I'm talking about either, but I think his name is Steve McLean. No relation to John.
What, the racing movies that suck guy?
Yeah, that guy.
Dude, come on.
1-800.
In other news,
John Dragonetti has announced that he will be changing his number to the number 80.
Unexpected.
Unexpected.
It's going to be weird.
Known for running the number 14. In fact, ran Daytona with the number 14. Maybe just trying to change the vibe a bit by switching to the number 80.
He wouldn't be the first driver to change numbers because of the vibes they got from him. So, still going to be weird.
Definitely.
That's for sure.
I'm proud to announce that the 33 has picked up another sponsor for the season. Castrol Oils has come on board. And starting, actually, not this week, but next week, after Las Vegas, we will debut the Castrol GTX car. So I'm pretty excited about that.
It looks good.
Another note on the special paint schemes, kind of moving on to that, the 50 will be driving a Energizer car at Las Vegas, so be sure to keep your eyeballs open for that. Yes. Anyways,
Energizer on the quarter panels.
No, Energizer on the entire car, because Energizer is on the quarter panels already.
So Target's going to be on the quarter panels.
Nope.
Flip it around. Grind Boss will be back. Grind Boss has been gone for a little bit, but they're back on the car in both the they'll be on the car in Okayama, even though I don't think they're available in Japan. But they're gonna be on the car anyway, and they're gonna be in the car in Las Vegas.
Looking forward to seeing that.
Big Grind Boss.
Okay, Mr.
Oh, it's a Grind Boss.
Alright, why don't we get out of here before we piss off more agents?
They're all the same.
Like I said, this is the last CORT Report, people.
Oh boy. This will be one for the agents.
This is going to be the last one. Can we piss off the North?
No, this is not the last one.
It'll be the last one if we piss off the North.
No, we're not. North Korea is best Korea, for all I care.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyways, why don't we go ahead and wrap this up? We don't have anything else to add on, so why don't we call it a night?
There was a car that said that.
There was a car that said that?
Yeah, there was a car where you wrap something. You wrap your...
No.
Yeah.
Let's finish up this show.
You know what, next week, I want to see all the cars running porn websites.
No.
Said no one ever.
No, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Chris Sweat, final thoughts.
Next. Let's keep the season moving.
Yeah, let's keep this season moving. Julian Medor, final thoughts.
It's looking good.
Yeah. I got to be honest. I appreciate everyone for coming on out over the past week of court action. Looks like we're going to have a still pretty sizable field. We're not going to have all that much of a Daytona Super Speedway drop-off as far as a field at Vegas.
21 so far?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy to have 21 entries after the day after a race.
Yep.
Never thought I'd see the day.
Court is doing good.
Court is dead.
Court is dead.
Dead.
Dead. All right, why don't we get out here? For Chris Sweat and Julian Medor, I am David Amboys. We appreciate you listening. We will come to you next week with results from Okayama and Las Vegas and a preview. Believe it or not, it's Indianapolis season. It's right around the corner.
Mom spaghetti.
Mom spaghetti.
So we'll catch you later. So long, everybody.
Da 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 da.